Hello everyone, Zoro here, and welcome back to another Pokemon anime character of the day. Today we're going over Tracey. Wait, am I reading this right? Tracey?
Who?
You see, it's funny because of the meme, like he's just there, like he's a little bit like forgettable, you know? Yeah, it's not funny anymore. Okay, moving on. So last time I did a video about Misty, and I've decided I'm just gonna go through all the companions in order throughout my rewatch. Once I finish Advanced Generation, I'll do May and Max. Once I finish Diamond and Pearl, I'll do Dawn and Brock. You get the idea. This time though, we're focusing on Tracey, and since he didn't really have that big of a presence in the anime, this video might be shorter than the rest, but he still was a main character for a while, which means he deserves to have one of these videos made about him. If I'm being honest, I literally forgot about Tracey. It wasn't until I posted the Misty video that Niall Kelly was like, hey, when's the Tracey video? But I'm glad he reminded me because it'll be nice to share with you guys everything I have to say about what is probably the Pokemon anime's most forgettable companion. I think Tracey was meant to be a permanent replacement for Brock, but afterwards they probably realized that Brock was way more popular, so they reintroduced him. Honestly though, Brock is a lot of the reason Tracey's forgettable. When people think about the original series, they think of Ash, Misty, and Brock, the three most iconic Pokemon anime characters. Nobody thinks about Tracey in that context, and so because of that, nobody remembers him. It also didn't really help that they kind of wrote him off to stay with Professor Oak, and he didn't really appear much in the original series afterwards other than a couple episodes. He also had a few appearances in AG, but then they just kind of reduced him to cameos after that. His personality is very similar to Brock's actually. Like I said, he was a replacement, so they wanted some similarities, but I was actually surprised how much alike they were when I really thought about it. Like Brock, he knows a lot about Pokemon. You know, when the gang encounters a new Pokemon that hasn't been on screen yet, Tracey knows what it is. We always have a character like that in pretty much every series, and Tracey fit that role in the Orange Islands. Kinda similar to Misty actually, Tracey also has a short and extreme temper, but it's really situational. Usually it's just in relation to Professor Oak, like this moment.
Yeah, he's a real nice guy, but...
Everyone knows Professor Oak is one of the greatest Pokemon experts on the whole entire planet!
You know, just occasional things that show us how much Tracey admires Professor Oak. I remember noticing this a couple times, but Tracey also has a soft spot for attractive women. He isn't thirsty as hell like Brock, but he does express it in his own unique way. Basically, he doesn't go overboard and confess his love instantly, but instead he just kind of sits back and draws them, which in real life would obviously be kind of weird, but it fits Tracey and it's played off for jokes in the show. It's funny and it doesn't happen in literally every episode, so I think it's welcome. I guess that ties into his goal, which is basically to be an artist, but in the show, Tracey wants to be what is called a Pokemon watcher. He pretty much just watches Pokemon from a distance and tries to sketch them in their most natural state. Kind of like what Todd Snap wanted to do, take pictures of Pokemon without them noticing, except Tracey wants to draw them. This is pretty unique and an interesting goal to have, but like Misty, it was never really fleshed out other than a few subtle moments and a couple episodes here and there. There's still some good things from this though, like for example, how it shows that Tracey has learned a lot of the tricks of the trade when it comes to Pokemon watching. He makes sure to stay out of sight, but also staying downwind in relation to the Pokemon so it can't pick up his scent and realize he's there. Also how he changes his breathing patterns to match the Pokemon so it won't hear him. It's just nice little details like these that definitely add a sense of realism to his profession. Another thing I thought was funny was how he always liked to poke fun at Ash and Misty, and it definitely benefited Pokeshepherds. Overall, I liked his personality and it had a ton of potential, but they never really did anything with him that would put him in the ranks of Brock or Clement in my opinion. We all pretty much know the history of Tracey by now because honestly there really isn't much there. He kinda just saw that Ash and Misty were friends with Professor Oak, so he joined the group in hopes that he could meet him one day. I mean, if you met someone who was good friends with a world famous celebrity, you'd want to become friends with them. It's a natural reaction. After the Orange Islands, he has a few reappearances, and during my rewatch, I honestly couldn't help but smile when he briefly reappeared periodically. I do actually want to talk about his Pokemon because they help him in interesting ways with his Pokemon watching. The first one we saw was Venonat, and it was used to find Team Rocket, but throughout the series it helps them search out specific Pokemon for him to draw. Marill is unique because it was one of the first few Generation 2 Pokemon in the anime and the second Johto Pokemon owned by a companion, the first obviously being Misty's Togepi. Marill uses its ears to hear where other Pokemon are, and as for Saitō, he's more or less just a battler, but the point I'm trying to make here is that unlike Ash, who is a battler and uses his Pokemon for that niche, this gives us more of a look into what other things people can do with Pokemon, and we really don't get much of that in the original series, and I feel like this is one slightly underappreciated detail. Alright, now we're gonna get into the community section of this video, and if you didn't watch the last video about Misty, basically this part is about getting different viewpoints even if I don't necessarily agree with them. So I took to Twitter and asked my followers what they thought about Tracey, and we got some good responses, so I'm gonna go through a few of them. The first one is from Lumiose trainer Zach, and he says, "Who?"
Boo! You stink!
The next one is from Gator EX, and he points out Tracey's unique goal and passion and how it helps with world building, and yeah, that's the kind of point I was trying to make earlier. I actually feel like with Tracey, they fleshed out the profession, but they never explained why he liked drawing or what his end goal was. Salami the Lucario says that if he was in Brock's place, more people would like him, and I see your point, but he literally was in Brock's place and people still didn't like him. But yeah, if they stuck with him instead of bringing Brock back, we'd probably see more Tracey fans. At Dawn Forever 101 basically says that he's bland and forgettable, and a lot of people hate on him for replacing Brock, and I'm actually glad you brought this up because I feel like Tracey being the Brock replacement after what was probably the height of the Pokemon anime's popularity is a lot of the reason people never liked him. He didn't get a chance to shine outside of the shadow of Brock, and it sucks that he was never given his own stage because he could have been one of the more interesting characters. And finally, Manders is back from the last video, and she says Tracey represents every intern / artist, and I respect him for it. Yet again, some true words of wisdom. So throughout this video, you might have gotten the idea that I don't care for Tracey, but honestly, over the course of my rewatch, I've learned to appreciate him. Yeah, he was a cheap replacement for Brock, and that's why they made him stay with Oak at the end of the Orange Islands. Yeah, he was sort of bland, but when you think about him as Tracey instead of great value Brock, he's actually pretty enjoyable. I really loved it when he was shown at Professor Oak's because not only does it show continuity between the series, it was just nice to see him there. It was so crazy to me that all the way up to the Black and White series, he cameoed and was directly mentioned. It was just nice to see older characters still doing other things after traveling with Ash. Unfortunately, they pretty much erased Tracey from existence after the last episode of Black and White, which sucks because Ash has been back to Pallet Town several times since then. I'm sure there was some time between X, Y, and Sun and Moon where we could have seen him, or hello, remember the episode where Ash and the Alola gang literally spent an entire day at Oak's lab? Where the hell was Tracey? The real life answer is that Tracey's Japanese voice actor isn't involved with the Pokemon anime anymore, which is why he hasn't had a speaking appearance since Advanced Generation. But here's a crazy idea. Change the voice actor? What an insane prospect. Literally nobody on planet Earth would care. Nobody. Now, I'm not saying I want Tracey to appear over characters like Dawn, May, Max, Clement, and of course, Serena! But I wish he was just there like usual. I wish they didn't erase him from the Pokemon anime because it literally just doesn't make sense. All it does is erase continuity in the series, and it furthers the fact that Tracey will always be the Pokemon anime's forgotten companion. Thanks for watching this video, everyone. Sorry it got a little heated at the end, but I did have fun talking about Tracey. He's honestly a character that had a ton of potential, and even if they don't do anything extremely meaningful with him, I hope that he returns in Pokemon Journeys, at least at Professor Oak's lab in a cameo or something. A quick few things before I head out. If you want to have a chance to be featured on my next Pokemon Anime Character of the Day video, follow me on Twitter because that's where I'll be asking your thoughts on whatever character I choose to do next. It'll either be May or Max once I finish Advanced Generation. Comment your thoughts on Tracey, and also subscribe because I have a huge project coming out very soon and you definitely wouldn't want to miss it. But that's pretty much it for this video, so with all of that out of the way, my name is Zoro, and make sure to stay tuned to my channel as the journey continues.